The BBC has received a number of complaints about the alleged implication in last week's programme that Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret has on 2 occasions been polite in public. The BBC now acknowledges that this is entirely true. And now this week's edition of Open Door, presented by the Flat Earth Society. Iran, and the search goes on for the Ayatollah Khomeini's contact lens. South Africa, further relaxation of apartheid. Mr. Botha introduces the first racially mixed swimming pool. The whites get the top half, and the blacks get the bottom half. And in part 2, the winner of the Reggie Bosanquet look-alike competition.
Good evening.
Here is the news. It was revealed today that Britain is the poorest country in the EEC, but still has the nicest flag. Denying this statement, Mrs. Thatcher said that she's delighted with the latest inflation figures of 16.5%, as it's 10% less than at the same time next year. Speculation is now growing of the existence of a 4th Kennedy brother who's been going around bumping off the others so that he can have a go. And finally, and this is an interesting one, a 98-year-old Upminster physicist today claimed that the world supply of gravity is rapidly diminishing. A government spokesman said there was no cause for alarm, but the professor replied that anyone who believes what goes up must come down hasn't had a national health enema. And now, parachuting.
Right. Last item on the agenda is the appointment of a new top man to my team. Now, I think it ought to be a woman. Equal opportunities and so on. A woman? And a woman. And positive discrimination, so preferably black.
A black woman?
Aye, a black woman. And we don't employ any ex-convicts at the moment, do we?
What about a black woman ex-convict?
Right, a black woman ex-convict. In her late 50s.
Late 50s?
A lot of people find it very, very difficult to get jobs when they've been made redundant in their late 50s. Especially if they're educationally subnormal. After all, an educationally subnormal epileptic with speech defects, partial sight and deafness would find it very, very, very difficult to get a job, even though they have a great deal to contribute.
Right, well, so we're looking for a woman.
Make that a pregnant woman.
A pregnant woman.
All right.
Who is black, blind, deaf,
Tall,
epileptic,
In her late 50s.
and an ex-convict. Right, now are we all agreed on that?
Aye.
Right, we'll have that advertised immediately. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Right.
Oh, that's bloody typical of JC, that.
Right, every good job that comes up goes to one of his family.
Danke, Bob.
that the national gravity shortage is more serious than previously thought. Apparently, this is a scarce and vital resource, and the government urges consumers to use as little of it as possible. Here's what you can do to help save gravity in places where it's most used. That is, near the ground. So stay off the ground as much as possible. Preferably up mountains or in aeroplanes, but generally stay on upper floors, tops of buses, and always use the upstairs loo.
Yeah, it's funny you talking about charity just then, because last Sunday I gave quite a brilliant, I thought, sermon about you know. Walks on water.
Good evening. This week, on October the 27th, one of the last of Britain's colonies, the tiny island of St. Vincent, gets its independence. With me are Mr. Toby Fanshawe of the St. Vincent National Popular Front for a Democratic Socialist Republic, and Mr. Henry Trethowan of the St. Vincent Democratic Socialist Republicans for a National Popular Front.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, perhaps we could begin by pinpointing St. Vincent on the map for the benefit of the viewers. Mr. Fanshawe?
It's there,
Where exactly?
in the Caribbean.
Mr. Trethowan, perhaps you could put your finger on it for us?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
It's here somewhere.
Well, it can't just have disappeared, can it?
I saw it only this morning.
Yes, Mr. Fanshawe.
Ah, I know. The CIA have moved it.
Yes. Mr. Fanshawe, could you describe St. Vincent for the viewers?
It's an island.
Go on.
It's an island entirely surrounded by,
Water.
Look, could we move on from this and look at life on St. Vincent? And what is the main occupation of the people?
they're the St. Vincent ginger growers, and I really want to say they grow the finest ginger in the world today. And the rum is fine any time of year.
With a totally tropical taste.
Till I come back, I wanna go home. Nuts, oh, hazelnuts.
Gentlemen! Please. Have you actually ever been to St. Vincent?
In what sense?
Have you been there?
No.
You?
No. I've read a lot about it.
Me too.
Oh, yes, what have you read?
I read a holiday brochure.
Holiday brochure?
Yes. It gave me a great insight into the deplorable social conditions of life on St. Vincent.
Such as?
Do you know it costs a family of four £900 to live there for 10 days?
Yes.
Car hire extra.
Yes.
No season rebate.
Shut up.
I've read a book.
Oh, yes, what was it called?
The Mayor of Casterbury.
The Mayor of Casterbury. Sit down.
Bring back RTV! Bring back bloody RTV, that's what I say. Have you ever seen such a load of rubbish in your bloody life? Have you ever seen such a load of rubbish in your life? Right, now we got rid of it. This is the biggest load of cock I've ever seen. Load of bloody rubbish, this is typical. And the sort of rubbish we've had to put up with since ITV went on strike, well, isn't it? It's bloody typical. Why, if you think this is bad, if you think this programme's bad, earlier tonight, I saw Nationwide. And that is crap. I'm not so bloody stupid, that programme. You don't think so bloody banal. Characterless commuter entertainment par excellence, that bloody programme. I mean, they really have interesting people on it, you notice? really valuable, useful members of society. People who can play Monopoly with one foot. That's just sort of twat they have on Nationwide. People who can impersonate trombones. Oh, God, I hate it. And there's only one programme worse than this one, and Nationwide. And that's bloody life. That bloody life thing with that bloody bleeding Esther, bloody bleeding Esther, bloody woman. Just you make you sick. And they think they're so important, don't they? I mean, they really think they've got their fingers on the pulse of the nation. Have you noticed that? There's her swanning around in the foreground like an overgrown walking denture commercial. Shut up! And behind her, there's that cross-eyed baboon who fights around in front of the rubber plant. And behind him, there's those two Nancy boys who... I mean, these people are famous, for Christ's sake. What's the company coming to, eh? Right, I've had my say and carry on.
Dear.
What's his name, son?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought I heard the phone go. The Kremlin have explained why Mr. Brezhnev hasn't been seen for 3 weeks. Apparently, it's his turn to queue at the butcher's. Reports are coming in from Iran that the Kurdish rebels have not been driven out of the town of Ali Kwana-Kuriba Bandar-Hamalegiar, but are still in possession of the last 2 syllables. And the secondary school maths teacher, who won £750,000 on the pools, says that he's going to invest 50% of it and just fritter away the other 3/4.
Mind like a sieve. Dear, Jesus Christ.
Home, darling.
Darling.
Hi. Oh, mwah. I'm sorry I'm late.
What happened?
Oh, you know, the usual. Got in the car, stuck the key in the ignition, booby trap.
Oh.
Yeah, blew half the boot off.
How annoying.
You know, I wouldn't mind, but the one I put in Bernard's didn't go off. Huffy went, grinning all over his stupid face.
Couldn't you take a shot at him?
Well, I didn't like to, really. He had the firm's bazooka with him.
Do they know he takes it home?
Oh, yeah, they let him. Well, he has to drive through St. John's Wood, you know.
You have to drive through Hampstead.
Actually, they wanted me to take the troop carrier again, but all that backseat driving. When are Mary and Chris coming?
Oh, they can't make it.
What?
Oh, well, Chris is being held hostage somewhere.
Oh, bloody hell. Listen, we go to all the trouble of stealing extra rations and then they cry off.
Doesn't matter, darling.
Well, you had to shoot a Sainsbury's cashier to get all that stuff.
Now, don't exaggerate. I shot her because I don't think you should have to pay for the carrier bags.
Well, we went to them when I had plutonium poisoning.
Look, if it upsets you, write them a letter bomb.
Do you know how much it cost in stamps to send one of those things? What's this, Tommy?
Oh, it's from the council. They're building a new rocket silo on the land at the back of the house.
What? But they can't do that. It's part of the Heath.
Well, apparently Camden's got fewer missile sites than any other London borough.
I mean, what the hell are they playing at? And what's happened to the disarmament talks with Hackney and Westminster?
They broke down.
Typical. Absolutely bloody typical.
Darling. Guess what Sebastian did after school today?
What?
Mugged his first OAP.
It's about bloody time, too.
We shouldn't force him, you know.
Force him? Force him? He's 11 and he can't even strip a Schmeiser automatic. It's that school. We should have paid to send him to a military academy.
Darling, those places are like concentration camps.
Concentration camp never did me any harm. I mean, what is he going to do when he gets into the outside world, eh?
Darling, what about the spiritual things of life?
Like what?
Unarmed combat.
Oh, dear.
Being able to kill with your bare hands is equally important. It's fulfilling.
Talking of fulfillment. Come upstairs to the rifle range.
John, not now.
Why not?
Darling, I'm in the middle of making detonators.
So far. Listen, I want to fire a gun with you. You're a very attractive woman.
You fired off 500 rounds last night.
So what?
Honestly, that milkman gets here so damn late. Oh, no!
What has it done?
It's your parents.
Oh, no!
Just in time for tea, as ever. And the silly idiots have got themselves pinned down by the Robinsons again.
Yeah, but I'm using my bit of unarmed combat.
Are you a gay Christian? No, it's all right. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I mean, if homosexuality is your thing, if that's the bag you're into, then that's great. Fantastic. I mean, don't be ashamed. Whatever you do, I mean, stand up. Come out of the toilet, as the phrase has it. And stand up and say, I am tempted to be a homosexual. And it'll be fine. And you may even decide after much prayer to enter into a committed and tempted relationship with a member of the same genital group. And if you do, and you feel you can do nothing about it, and you've been to a psychiatrist, and you've had aversion therapy, and you've tried tying metal weights to your private parts, and you still feel these tendencies, then I'm afraid it means that God just wants you to have a rotten life. God's like that. He hates puffs.
They called him Keith. He looked almost human. But who was he really working for?
Hail, Grout! Hail, Murray! Fresh news from Earth. Good, good. How fares our sacred messenger? Well, the bearer of the holy Quabba Thrall. Well, entrusted with the great wisdom of the great Vest of Zandur and Krabath. Yeah. The dynamic. Keith Joseph. Right. Weird name. It suits him well. And when will he bring about the great plan of Prong? Soon. Already he has lunched with the executive management of British Leyland. And upon what course did they decide? 3 scampi, a Blanquette de Veau, and a fairly amusing little wine. A subtle move, perhaps. But I think I discern his strategy. Let there be many more of these scampies, many and even more blankets for all, and even more fairly amusing little wines until the ultimate and inexorable dawn of, thing. Whatever. Hooray!
Hello, I'm Mel.
I'm Chris.
Inviting you to join us in a completely new approach to TV Keep Fit programs.
Right. Instead of the usual professional athletes, Mel...
Hello.
And I are actually not even particularly fit.
Yes. And we're going to work through this course at our own pace, and at a pace which we hope you will find both realistic and manageable.
Right. So how do we begin, Mel?
Yes. Well, to begin with, we need to make a space about 10 foot by 10, and absolutely any room in the house will do. Having cleared yourself a space, you get your partner to stand with his feet planted firmly about 18 inches apart on the ground, and distribute the weight evenly. Now,
Get your flatmate to lie with his back on the floor. Oh, good.
What?
Right. Now, grasp each other's opposite wrists.
Oh.
And, bending at the knees to avoid a hernia, you can exercise both your thigh and your calf muscles by levering your buddy to his feet. 1, 2, 3.
Ow.
Well, now it's your turn.
Right, now. Performed correctly, weight difference between flatmates should not prove a problem.
Yes.
It's all just a question of balance and leverage. Without much...
What the bloody hell's going on here?
Oh, no.
Right.
No, Pam, look, Chris. Oh, sorry. Look. Yes. Look, until the same time next week, this is Mel and Chris.
And Mel.
And Mel saying...
Pam.
And Pam are saying, get fit together.
You get it together.
Bye.
Don't worry, I'm leaving.
And all because the lady loves publicity. That's no lady, that's my wife.
Hey, Mr. Forte, I don't understand. Hay telecommunicaties contact lens. Comprendo. Is het genoeg? Oh.